All right, so a couple opening statements, and I'll take your questions. First of all, very impressed with Idaho State. I think they were as advertised. The physicality of their offensive line was one of the things that maybe we didn't anticipate. They ran the ball very efficiently. We had to kind of bone up a little bit in there, and unfortunately, just right before game time, Tyrone Fontenona was a game-time decision for us, and I think that one of the guys that stepped up for us today at the buck position was Michael Jobman. Got his first career start, did some really nice things for us. We got Tyrell Thomas back. He had a critical play for us down on that goal line stand. I thought that Jalen Cole stepped up and played his best game. So, there's a redshirt freshman and two true freshmen that really rose to the occasion today for us, and was very proud of those guys. I thought one of the unsung heroes of this game, obviously getting the two takeaways in the second half, Mac with the pick six, atoning for last week a little bit. And, obviously being able to finish that was unbelievable for us and created a lot of momentum. That two-score lead with 8.5 to go was big for us. As I was saying a moment ago, I think one of the unsung heroes in this game was Jared Padmos. His ability to control field position, consistently downing the ball inside the 10-yard line and forcing them to have to drive the field was a really important part of our success today. Big Sky Conference, there's no easy days, and very, very proud of our young men and happy for them.
Coach, 2 straight weeks, 3 points in the second half. Defensive adjustments there you made today.
We had probably two little things that we went to in the second half. We did tweak some coverage things, but I thought our defensive line really did a nice job of applying pressure in the second half. We adjusted some of our LCVs, our line games, if you will, and I thought those kids really responded. You could tell we started to carry seams a little bit more. When he wanted to go vertical with the ball, it wasn't available to him, and by the time he got down to his underneath routes, he had guys in his face, and he wasn't able to throw the ball into clean windows, and there was a lot of balls that he short hopped in that, if he has a clean pocket, he's probably gonna drive that ball on the receiver.
You kind of alluded to it, but in the second quarter, they started to kind of lean on you a little bit with their running game, and you had to, bone up a little bit. So what did that require? Just a kind of a halftime pep talk?
Really, one of the things we talked about, we made one slight adjustment into their 12 personnel set that I think helped us. I thought we did a good job of mixing our pressures. We were a little bit more confident in some of our blitzes than we were maybe going in. We felt like we could cover these guys a little bit better than maybe we thought we could, and so that gave us some confidence to call some pressures, and I think that was a big part of it. But I also think Byron did a really nice job of rolling our D-line. We played a lot of guys in the first half, and I think that played out well for us in the second half because with an up-tempo offense that's going to run a bunch of plays, you're going to get worn out, and I think we were fresh in the second half, and we have been consistently, and I think that these guys work hard in the offseason. They don't get enough credit. We've been a fourth-quarter team all year, and our kids are in great condition, and they play well in the fourth quarter.
Touched on this with the pick, but you've been waiting a month for that, and then you get 2 there at the end. How nice was that to see those takeaways?
Well, it was awesome to see it, and we've been harping on it a lot. I know Coach Ty's done a lot of push-ups. Anytime we have a missed stop in practice, we drop and get 10 in. And, just a friendly reminder that we've got to take advantage of those opportunities. And so very proud of the way the young men responded today and closed out drives for them. And we were able to finish the drive. We had the one red zone turnover. We're not out of that phase yet. We've still got a ton of growth to do there. And I think that's one of the things that one of my message to these young men tomorrow is that, we've been able to win 2 games in a row, which is a good thing for us. But we haven't played our best football. And so that I think is one of the things that I'm really going to hold on to in terms of challenging these guys is that our best football is still ahead of us.
You mentioned being able to cover them maybe better than you thought you were. How much of that was just the performance of the young DBs, Tyrell Thomas?
Yeah, I think, Coulter, I think that's a great observation. I think that was very impressive. They played tight coverage, and the windows were small for the quarterback. We weren't playing off. We were challenging those guys, and both Jalen and Tyrell responded exceptionally well.
The goal line stand in the third quarter there, where Zach Wright, gets pressure and kind of snuffs out that fourth down play. Huge moment in the game for you guys.
Without a doubt. Yeah, anytime there's a goal line stand is equivalent in my mind to like a blocked punt. What it does for your sideline, the energy that's created there in our home stadium and on our sideline, it's a huge boost of confidence, and I think that was one of many big plays. We had 2 red zone stops in the first half on fourth down that were also equally as big in retrospect.
Zach Wright had a hit on that goal line, but it seemed like, like you said, in the second half, he really came on. What'd you think of just his individual play?
I think he's been doing it all year. It doesn't surprise me a bit. That guy's a warrior and a great leader. loves his teammates and loves playing for the Bobcats.
A little sporadic on offense, but some big plays today. What'd you think of there?
Yeah, you know, one of the things we talked about a lot was just trying to be consistent. And I think you see the growth. It's incremental growth, in particular with Chris, and what we feel comfortable doing with him and opening up the pass game a little bit. And we're going to have some moments where it doesn't look exactly like we want it to, but those are great learning opportunities for him. And you know, he's making strides. He really is. And I think you can see how problematic it's going to be to defend us once he really starts to, you know, comprehend the whole scheme.
Jared had great success going rugby style today. What went into that decision, I guess, to have him kind of roll?
Well, you know, we've been doing it for the last couple of weeks. It was one of those things that's kind of funny because, you know, Jared spent a lot of time in the offseason kind of honing in as a kind of traditional punter. And when we sat him down after the Weber State game, we said, you know, you were recruited here to be a rugby punter. And so just because it looks pretty doesn't mean it's good. And let's get back to what you do well and what you did well in high school and why we wanted you here. And so he's kind of embraced that, and it's a natural thing for him. And you can see some of the cross kicks where we catch the turf just right, and it was good.
You mentioned Michael Jubbin stepping up, but how would you evaluate his performance in the absence of Grant and Tyrone?
I thought it was a little bit what you'd expect in the first half. You know, it's not like Michael doesn't play for us. Michael's played consistently for us, but his first start, and so, you know, some moments where little details of alignment, checking formation, communication, and then in the second half, he just kind of played with confidence and relaxed, and he's a really good athlete, and he did some nice things for us in the second half.
Did you like what you saw of Chris Murray today?
Except for the interception, yes. I think I thought he, you know, threw the ball with confidence. We were able to take advantage of some matchups. Got us into the right play at the right time. I thought Brian did an awesome job because those guys are hard to move. We talked about that all week. I mean, those guys are the real deal between the tackles. Nobody really runs inside zone on them. And we were able to find some things, especially in the fourth quarter, to kind of punch some holes in that fence. And I thought Nick ran the ball with courage and an attitude in the fourth quarter. And I thought Brian did a really nice job. Brian and Josh Tofalele kind of, you know, penciled out some stuff that was going to be good for us, and it worked.
Was the dump off to Lassane kind of improvisation on Chris's part there?
So that's his check down. And for the record, that's the first one he's ever hit. And he came right to the sideline and told me I finally hit the check down. So maybe do it more often, buddy. So he knew where it was, though.
And a good job to awareness as far as the line of scrimmage, too.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know if that's, you can write that. I mean, this may or may not be true, but.
Coming right at you.
I was like, I better not drop it this week, or else I'd probably lose my spot. Yeah.
Can you talk about that one last week and what kind of happened?
I think last week I just saw it a little late. It was a little behind me, and I was too focused on the route instead of the quarterback. And then I just dropped it too. That's about it to that one.
Can you talk about how nice it is to get those two takeaways at the end after you guys have been struggling to find those?
Yeah, it was very nice. It's something that we emphasized for the last 3-4 weeks, and it's nice to see that finally pay off on a game like today where we needed them.
I think they were 7 of 9 on third down in the first half, 14 points in the first half. Nothing really to speak of in the second. What kind of changed for you guys on defense?
I just think that's the type of team we are. We're going to bow up in the second half. I felt like we're in a lot better condition, and then that allowed for those turnovers. And then it was a hot day, you know, when you're getting used to the 50-degree weather. It kind of showed out today.
The pick that you had coming out of a timeout, did you see something formationally before that play was ran that kind of let you jump it like you did?
No, it was kind of a couple things, just kind of where he was hitting at us earlier on in the game, and just me being patient and not biting on the underneath route, and then sitting and waiting for him to throw me that ball. And then that's a lot on the D-line, and then the DBs all game, getting pressure on him that allowed him to make that mistake because he's a pretty good quarterback.
What about the second one that you tipped? Was that just kind of an instinct thing?
Actually, I didn't even see that ball at all. I just knew that they were going to go deep with it, and I had to get deep with my receivers. And I knew they were going to go to either 2 or 20, so that was just my thinking there. And
What's it feel like scoring a touchdown in this stadium?
that was the first time ever. it was unbelievable. Yeah, I kind of didn't know what to do there. I'm not like Chris, and he knows what to do after he scores. Not Zach.
I live in the trenches. I don't know.
What'd you think of the young DBs stepping up like they did?
Those guys was incredible. I mean, I knew that they were good, but I also knew that they had to come out and prove it, and they did exactly that. It was nice to have Tyrell back, and then it's just those two guys, and just a lot of the freshmen just stepped up today and made plays on both sides of the ball, and it's really good to see that.
Did you expect them to run as much as they did, and what'd you do to kind of counter that in the second half?
Yeah, we knew that running back was a good one, and probably the leading rusher in the conference. And we knew that we had to go shut him down before we could focus on the pass and their passing game. And that was our very first focus, just stop the run, stop him. And then we kind of did that in the second half, and then we were able to let the horses up front get after the quarterbacks.
Do you feel like you guys were fresh though as the game was going on, because they were making their yards on the ground throughout the first half? You guys really had to kind of raise your game.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just a type of team that we are. Is we're gonna. I think that we kind of overhype ourselves in the first half, but then when we come out in the second half, calm down, catch our second win, and we can go with anyone in the second half, and I think that's why we've been in so many close games.
Can you just talk about that check down play to Nick Lassane?
Yeah, we just noticed all week that a lot of teams just been throwing check downs, getting first downs consistently, and when that play broke down, it was just all curls, and I was just looking my reads outside in, and then that wasn't there, scramble and look for the check down, and the mic just plastered to me, and I just dumped it down, and Kevin made some key blocks down the field, and Nick almost scored, so it was a good play.
Were you aware of the line of scrimmage and how close you came to crossing?
Oh no, that just kind of like natural. I don't know. You just kind of feel it.
Overall offensive execution today, how do you think you guys did?
On the A to F grading scale, I'll probably say B minus. I'll say B minus, just because for the most part we took what they gave us, but there were certain plays that we just kept beating ourselves a little bit in the red zone on that bad snap and that turnover ad.
What happened on the bad snap? Were you trying to get a check from the sideline?
We just called a play where we just fake snap it, and then we're going to look back. But then Alex thought they jumped off sides, and then so he snapped it, and I didn't think they jumped, so I was getting ready to look back, and then he snapped it.
How did things change when Alex went out of the game for a little while?
I didn't really notice much of a change. Everything felt the same, so kudos to Denver Crone on being ready and coming in.
On that interception, did you get hit pretty hard?
Oh, yeah.
About 47, right?
Yeah.
So then after getting hit like that and throwing the pick, but then you come back and play well after that. So what did that take for you mentally?
As a quarterback, or you just got to have that next play mentality, good or bad.
How much juice did the defense give you guys, especially with the turnovers, the fourth down stops?
Oh man, they played. I feel like they played their best second half for sure. But first half we kind of carried them, and then second half when we were going, they carried it for us too. So Pambos performed tremendous all day. So I think it was a great team win.
Did Nick say anything about regretting not being able to get all the way to the...
He didn't. He hasn't said anything yet, but I'm pretty sure he would have just, pick up his feet up a little bit more. He would have finished. But I've been there before. It sucks. Even on that run today, just picked up my feet. Probably would have scored, but it is what it is.
2 straight wins now. What does that do for you guys' confidence now going?
Definitely feels good. We had a tough one back on the road. It's always hard to play over there in Colorado. And then just we knew coming back at home it's gonna be just feels good to be back at home. It feels like forever. And then good thing we got today's win, and we're on to next week and back at home again, thankfully.
In the second quarter, when those 2 long drives Idaho State had, what was your fatigue level like, and then how were you guys able to kind of rally from that?
Oh, it's pretty high. It's like the thing with Idaho State is once they start going to get the first downs, they like to go fast and as fast as they can go. And we train for it in practice, but even when you train for it, it's still tough to deal with. So a lot of it is making sure that you may be tired, you can't let your technique slip. It's gap integrity is extremely important up front, and you got to make sure that it's a premium. So even when you're tired, you still got to stay in there, and that's what we tried to do.
You talk about the fourth down plays, especially in the third quarter there, that goal line stand. Sort of how you guys were able to rise up.
Yeah, in those situations, like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to gap integrity and stuff, it's even more important. There can't be any mistakes because you're usually giving up. It's a game of inches. So when you get in that 4th and 1, you got 2 feet, usually 3 feet between you and that. So a lot of it's gap integrity. It's making sure that if you do get in contact with the guy, it's making sure you're lower than he is so he doesn't get those feet. But a lot of it too is that making sure, and what our linebackers did great during the game is they came downhill fast, because the D-line, we're getting our gaps up front, but there's still gaps open, so it's extremely critical that they're there to stop the runner.
Without Grant, without Tyrone, what do you think of just the way the front seven played today?
I'm really freaking proud of us. I mean, young guys stepped up. Mac said it earlier, is the freshmen, people go down. Tyrone had his injury the day before. So some guys have to step up, and they did. And getting in that position isn't easy, but they did well. And even though Tyrone was out on the sideline, he was still there coaching guys up, being involved. And that was really important. So kudos to Tyrone, kudos to Jobman, kicking butt up there.
The offense kind of closed things out last week with the drive. How nice was it to kind of do it yourselves this time?
It's exciting. That's the stuff you live for. It's you know, you could be the player that says, I'm glad I'm not out there and this ain't on me, but the way our defense works, we're always excited to do that. Carry the game on our shoulders. If we have to, we'll step up, just like I know the offense did. So it's exciting stuff.
Mac has mentioned your guys' physical condition. Did you feel like that's starting to play out now here in the second half of the season and in the second half of games?
By far. It's once you get to this part of the season, you get injuries everywhere. People are worn. You're not really going into games 100% anymore. So with all the conditioning that we do and making sure that all the guys are in the training room at all times, it really helps us have that extra push there at the end of the game, and that's why we live in the second half.
How big was Jared's performance for you guys? Well, I guess Jared making them go the length of the field, hitting them inside the 20 consistently. How much?
Huge. I've never been in a game where I've had a punter do that so consistently. I think he put it down there 3 or 4 times. And with our stadium, that part of the end zone, you can't pick a better spot on the field. And so pinning them down there, half of it, was us beating them, but half of it was Jared Padnos getting the ball down there and letting our crowd start to affect things. So big kudos to Padnos.
What were your impressions of Madison, their running back number 23?
I like him. One of the big things in the first half that we struggled with was he would run the ball on us, but it was because once he came downhill, he'd see a gap, he'd go downhill immediately. He wasn't a big side-to-side guy, so even if he was going downhill, he was getting his 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 or 5. So kudos to him. He's a good back. He hits the hole fast, and he's a hard hitter too. So you got to make sure you square up on him.
What was Greg Reck's message to you guys this week?
A lot of it's just, I would say it's coming together to play a complete game. Because there's times where we do well in the first half or we do well in the second half, and it's trying to come through and play a complete game of solid defense, getting out on third downs. It's extremely critical. That, but along with the things, like, we know we can do it. It's like that we have times where we show that we're capable. It's just taking that capability and stretching it into a long run kind of thing.
Started the Big Sky 0-6 last year, now you're 4-2. Can you kind of feel the momentum building here?
I do. There's a lot of confidence in the guys. It's tough starting the season out like we did. A bunch of ranked teams, granted. My personal opinion is we could have beaten them all, but just the way it goes, getting that kind of momentum, it changes the mentality of the team. It changes the culture. It's less of what do we have to do to win and more we know what we have to do and we just have to execute.
Thank you, Zach. Thanks, Zach.